Welcome to the online series of creative conversations produced by Arts Nexus, featuring practicing arts makers from across far north Queensland, a place to explore the business of arts, the ups, the downs, where we get our inspiration from and what our aspirations are.
We'd like to welcome Segundo Nitor and Angelis Zammataro, who are based up there in Mossman and are up there in the gorge at the moment. Lovely day today up there.
Yes, beautiful weather. It's getting a little bit warm, but still pleasant in the evenings. Still pleasant.
So for those that are not based in the region, Mossman is north of Cairns, about an hour, in a really beautiful backdrop of incredible forest, rainforest and rivers and creeks, and I'm sure very inspiring. So I want to find out a little bit about how you got there, especially Segundo, where you've come from a very long way to find your way to first Australia, then far north Queensland, and then Mossman. So part of our conversation will be about that. So perhaps you could just summarise for us now, what are you doing now? What is your current practice?
First, to say thank you for the invitation for this interview. How are you, Melissa? Claire. Hola. How are you? Well, I'm a musician, picture framer. I'm a songwriter as well. And I'm in charge with the group of Los Caracoles. It's a music group. I'm an artist as well. Look after here our art gallery in Mossman. I have some art of my artwork in the wall here. For contemporary art, I'm an artisan as well, making wood carving combination with the acrylic color in the background of the wood carving.
So do you use the acrylic with the wood carving, did you say?
Yeah.
What was the question?
Do you use acrylic with wood carving, or are they separate?
And I do the combination. For example, I create a specific texture on the background. It's a long process to do it. Everything making by hand, the texture with acrylic. And then after that, I set up my wood carving on the top of that background of color in acrylic.
Wow. Okay, so thank you, Angela. So that's
you can see this very simple. This is the background with a very strong texture.
Yes.
And then the wood carving of any animal or about the environment here in far north Queensland or the reef. We have here the seahorse. It's a beautiful seahorse. Yes. Little bit fat. Good food.
We like that. Wow, that is a very beautiful piece. Okay, so that's a new one, is it?
Yeah, that is, I finished last week.
Oh, lovely. That's nice to see. So you, even after all these years, still feel proud of your artwork as you create each piece? Do you get excited when you start out on a new piece?
Yes, always when I finish any kind of artwork or writing poetry or a new song, I have a big satisfy myself, and I celebrate myself with a cup of coffee. And the other good thing to see is when people or my customer recognize and enjoy my artwork.
Yeah.
Oh, you're framing.
Or framing. or song.
Awesome, yes. So you're in a nice place to be able to get that every day, being in a gallery. So how do you balance having a gallery and your art practice? How do you get to
I like that question. I come from a country, South America, where it's so difficult to get or to have all the resources to keep going with your art. And here, when I arrived to Melbourne, I arrived first in Canberra, and there I found a try away, you know, later on, a good way to show our artwork. I remember, for example, in Canberra, I started making tools in wood carving, like a shovel or like any kind of tool using in the country. And then I have some customers, they were coming to my workshop, and I started selling easy. And that was a wonderful motivation. But the difference is, I got the result. I got the attention of the people who they don't have economy, bad situation, or difficult to spend money. In our country, it's a rich in culture, but we not rich in resources, like to buy all the pencil, the material, the equipment, the tools. And that's when I saw that here in Australia, I started thinking, oh, this is wonderful to start creating more artwork and spending money with new machine or new brushes, painting in acrylic, all that. And I found, especially here in Queensland, when we moved to Queensland, a fantastic environment and a huge talented artists around Mossman, Port Douglas, Cairn, Tableland. We were traveling everywhere with my partner Angela.
Yes.
And that was so motivated for me to take all that beautiful, peaceful way to create new artwork. In our country is fantastic with the art, but in many topics, probably the 80% of the topic artwork is in a political way or social problem. It's very sad. I am a picture framer. I was framing in Chile as well. It was so stressful to start framing something with people suffering in the street, women suffering, no food for kids, you know. And here, it's peaceful. All the artwork is in relation to the reef, the forest, the animal, our environment. As creating new vision, it's an education as well for your eyes, for your brain. When you are in the workshop, you're feeling peaceful, no under stress, but framing something nice.
Wow.
You understand me?
Yes. Well, we really believe that arts saves lives, actually, and the well-being and the joy that people get from doing it. So yes, I'm on your side there. You said something before about back in your home country, or your original country, you probably well and truly call here home now, that culture is very, it's everywhere. So how were you treated as an artist back there? Is it a special thing to be an artist, or is it just a given that everyone does art?
Right. I think from the early age of my life, when I was a little boy, always I create my own artwork and writing. In Chile, is any third country, in my opinion, in my case, I never had in Chile, for example, the opportunity to thinking about an art exhibition. That's what, anyway, in my conscience, we were thinking, this is not the way to survive or to have a good life, because it's for, unless you are a famous artist, a famous musician, or a famous artist. The circumstance is so different. The economy is different, the political way is different, and for any artist it's difficult to just live with art. We have to learn different things to live. That's the reason I have multi-skill, because you don't have other choice there. If you have just one skill, probably you are unemployment forever. But if you have more skill in different way, it's more possibility to find a job or to create a condition to make money.
Yeah.
And that's what the reason I never, Melissa, I never was thinking to be a musician. I never was thinking to be an artist. I never was thinking to have a music group or conductor of Los Caracoles, for example. That's different for me today. In Chile, forget it.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and why I got the way here to be a musician, to be an artist, one of the reasons, especially when I moved to Queensland, it's no Latin American here, Latin American people, no Latin American community here in Mossman. And we were living in Wonga Beach. All my resort was around me, the environment, all the resources. And I start painting. And Angela, she had the suggestion, Segundo, you write in poetry. Why you not try to put music in your poetry? And we start from that time in Mossman. This band born in Mossman, the Los Caracoles. This band is from Mossman. And we're creating a space here to play with Helen Ramonsaki. She's a poet.
Yes.
And she, during that time, she was organizing an activity, cultural activity she called Poetry and Pasta.
Oh, it goes together, doesn't it?
And we were playing like a duo there, our own music. And then we were 3 musicians in the group, me, Angel, and my son, he started playing from 3 years old.
Mm.
Yeah.
So is it that you were in Mossman that it allowed for you to have that space? Or what do you think it is about being in Mossman that meant that you could create a band like that? Because you're saying that there weren't other people from Chile around, so.
Yeah. One of the things when Angela, she was taking me everywhere to, to see the landscape, the people. And sometimes we had controversial scene because I was coming from a strong environment of culture in Santiago, Chile, and then in Canberra, and then in Melbourne. For me, it was something like insulated again in a rural area in Wonga Beach, Mossman. It took me a while to start to see the good thing, like Mossman Ghost, the reef, the artist, the Aboriginal.
Can I just say something? When he first came here, he thought he'd been exiled again because he felt that there wasn't much culture or much happening. No,
Yes.
yeah. But then he gradually came around, as you say, to appreciate what's here and take advantage of what's here and develop his art from what's here. And also we met other people. Also.
So in a way it allows you space to find a whole new expression, doesn't it? Because you are...
Exactly, yeah. We start from nothing, Melissa, and just the, you know, the hope, the dream. And I couldn't go to my best, for example, without to check everything was clear of a snake or spider or gecko. In our country, we don't have gecko living into the house.
We do live on the edge.
But today I love a snake. I like gecko.
Oh.
I have some good carving of a snake.
Yes.
Because one day I was working here and one snake was into the gallery and I jumped over the table or the bed and I got my camera and I take a photo and then I make that snake.
Wow.
And already selling as well because people, it's unusual to make a snake here in a good carving.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm using the dot. In South America, some artists, they use the dot, but the difference is the original art, they have a specific history in all the single painting, right? I'm not Aboriginal, I'm Indian from South America, but I'm not trying to copy nothing from the Aboriginal.
Yeah.
I have good relationship with the artists here, with the Aboriginal people.
Yeah.
And they told me, yes, Segundo, you can use the dot. That is just a snake, no history on the background.
Yeah.
That is our traditional art in Latin America. We write the title of the artwork, landscape, something like this is Mossman or this is Mossman Ghost. That's it. Yeah, it's painted with acrylic, making texture, and then the dot. When you finish with the dot, you spray with varnish on the top.
Varnish, yes.
The finish job, and then the last job is to when we create the background, and this is just to create the effect, the black line, and then you can see the snake is floating.
Yes.
So I'm using three parts of timber on the back, 1 centimeter high, and the snake looks floating.
Yeah, that's a beautiful piece. That's very lovely, Segundo. Yeah, so I think that you are absolutely living the dream. To have the craft or the trade of being able to be a framer, plus be an artist, so that, well, first of all, you can make your own frame, so that's
saves a lot of money.
Yeah, well, and you can frame it exactly as you want too. I can see that that's a very big part of your artwork. So I hear that you have and it is legendary, and I'm yet to get to one, but a cafe, an art cafe. I want to know a bit more about that.
Well, it's not an art cafe, but it's called Cafe Art. So we started off having them here inside the gallery with tables around, right. And people loved it. And but it just got too big. We couldn't have it in here anymore. It was lovely, surrounded by the artwork. So what Segundo's done is that he's actually effectively made a little gallery in the garden. So he's got all these different artworks on the wall. So last time we had it in the garden, and the shed was the stage where the band was, and we had 80 people. so we have other people making food, like usually traditional food. So we give other people a chance to do their stuff too. We don't ask them for anything, you know. I would just say, you come along and you make your food and you sell it. So that's a responsibility that we don't have, and also it gives other people a chance to be involved. Of course, we have other artists. We do some things. When the Montgomery boys were here, they did stuff, and they're also part of our band, as you probably know. Yeah. And we have young people who are emerging artists, or we had an Aboriginal family last time who did a big bracket as well. We have Helen Ramatsaki does spoken word. So we have different artists and different things happening, and people really like it. And it's very satisfying.
Well, I think that it goes back to what you said earlier too, Segundo, when you were seeking out not just people to play music with, but like-minded people, you know, feeling connected with your community. And so having a place to go like that, and though I haven't been yet, I do know some people that go, so I have heard about it a lot.
Creating the culture, you know, it's no place of complaining there's no culture. You create it yourself. And of course, with Helen was like Gunda said, was
amazing.
That's who started all that.
Yeah. Well, Helen's a bit of a headliner.
We used to sing our poetry instead of, people used to come along and say poetry, and we used to sing our poetry.
Yeah. Well, I could see that in Helen's presentation at the recent Cairns Tropical Writers Festival. It had a very strong influence of music, and with the backdrop with the video, and it was a whole different level of poetry performance.
Yeah. She's quite amazing. She's really outstanding. And we have got some amazingly outstanding people up here who do all sorts of things.
But I think having a shop as well, that's something very reliable about that. It becomes a centre, pivotal point for the community.
Focus,
in and out. So, okay, let's have a quick chat about your music. So, you said you arrived Canberra, then Melbourne. Is that right? You spent some time in Melbourne.
I was in Canberra, and then we met in Melbourne.
You met in Melbourne. And so did you play music in Melbourne?
We played together, We played for different things. I played with different people, with different groups, different bands.
Yeah, I met Angela singing together in a big choir, a music writing for a great composer. Name is Nikki Theodoraki. Nikki Theodoraki, very famous writer of music, conductor. And then that's in Melbourne was a conductor, an Aussie musician, wonderful conductor as well, and he got the music from Miki Todoraki, and he created a choir with the music or the poetry from Neruda. Pablo Neruda is a Chilean writer who got the Nobel Prize many years ago. And I met Angela there, and after a while, she was my girlfriend.
We probably don't have enough time to hear that story now, but I might come up to one of your cafes and find out. I'm sure
and I got the invitation to see what happened here in Far North Queensland. Another challenge.
Because I'm from here, of course. I left for 25 years.
Wow.
And then returned more than 20 years ago now.
So music was what brought you together, and actually you may be interested in having a listen to one of our other Zoom meetings that we had with Paul Chantrell, who plays with Katerini Monolatos down there in Cairns. So another very strong Greek music.
Where's that?
Katerini is based in Cairns. She's a mezzo-soprano, Greek heritage, but her and Paul play Greek music together, and he's a classical guitarist, so we should get you to meet up. That would be good.
Beautiful.
I'd be very surprised if you both haven't, all hadn't met. So the music, because, tell me a little bit about that, because you have a band now that is fairly well known, and tours as well. You get to play elsewhere. How does that work for you? Like, tell me a bit about the group that you have around you. We write our own music, so 96% probably of what we play is our own music. Most of it Segundo writes. I write some things in Italian and English and a little bit of Spanish as well. We're actually, the big band comprises of us plus the Montgomery brothers that our son plays in, of course, and as Ungo said, he's played with us since he was very small. But then the other two boys joined, and they love the music. They love the Latin music, even though they're from a totally different background. Yeah. So it's a way of also including young Australians and introducing them to a different type of culture, which they, luckily for us, they really love. Yeah.
We've played a number of festivals. We've played around here for a long time. We've played at different community events and fundraisers. We went to Chile almost a year ago for a few months and toured around there, mostly in the south where Segundo comes from. Did a lot of things with the local councils there. The councils are quite a big deal there, and being sponsored by a council there is a big thing, because they're big communities and the councils are big organisations. So we were very lucky to be sponsored by them and supported by them.
So sorry, go on, Segundo.
Yeah, it's something important to say in that tour. I told you before, we was duo, and then we were trio, and then the band grew up. We were 5 and then 6 musicians. When we started working with the Montgomery brothers, that was very, very good experience, because Montgomery brothers, they play blue music, right? Blue, and we play Latin music, right? And was accidental to start working together, and we was working like everything to do by ourselves to create the condition for the future, saving money. We don't have any kind of support in money to do that tour for 3 months. And that was fantastic experience to work harder by yourself, the group. And we do it. After working together 3 years, we was ready to do the tour. And still we are working together, and still we have projects to develop here in Australia. And our dream is to do another tour, North South America, maybe Spain or Japan, we don't know where. But it's very, very hard to create their own resource in money, especially, to do this kind of project. And thank you to the council as well. Nevertheless, we know have, during that time, the support in money, we had the support with letter from the council, and we had the support from the Chilean government as well, with the council, with a letter as well. That was very, very important to traveling everywhere in Chile without any problem, because when you're traveling, any artist, any group, they can't work because unless they have a specific permission from the government to do that job.
Okay.
Another way is not possible. And now we got another grant from the council here to create or to record our next album, and we had to do that job and to finish the job in January, February, or March next year. We're working in that way.
Just say that again. You have now got
A RADIF grant from the council.
Yay! Well done. Awesome.
Our fourth CD. But
Wow, that's fantastic.
we
So
should,
that's from the Douglas Shire Council.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and we should mention, sorry, we should
Oh.
mention two
Yes,
things.
prepared one, William.
They supported us for our first CD in 2003, I think it was, way back. And now they've given us another grant for
2003.
2003.
And
Another thing I have to say is that Arts Nexus had a workshop to talk about how to apply for a grant.
that's
And,
right.
and they warned us that it would be, very comprehensive, and they were right. So it was extremely comprehensive, and because Art Nexus told us how to do it and what to include and what to not exclude, I was able to do. I think it was quite a good application, but you have to put the work in, and and I did. It's very good guidance. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. That is so good to hear. And I probably would have said to you at the time, whatever work you did for your application will help you once you get your project happening, because now you have your media release already written, basically. Everything's in your application, so don't forget to go back
Yes.
and look at that paperwork. Oh, well, that is great news, and we should definitely make time to meet up with Claire to talk about Australia Council funding, because obviously there's more than just the local councils. So there's once you're on that funding round, there's more to go. Oh, well, that's great. So in terms of your music, Montgomery Brothers are getting a bit famous too, so that might be a bit challenging, being able to coordinate your tours between your own schedules in that.
Well, we'll do it.
No, good luck with that.
They work during the day as well, so we do. So, you have to fit it all in somehow.
So amongst all of that, what would be your proudest moment? Because, we, especially thinking back right through your life, and certainly I would congratulate you on having a business survive so long, and particularly in a regional context. So that's a great thing. And to keep your personal relationship through business, music, collaborating.
I actually work as an English teacher.
So you get an escape during the day.
Completely different from migrants, though. So I get that other multicultural side that's very satisfying.
Yeah.
I use music quite a lot. I write music for the classroom. I write specific music with grammar and that sort of thing.
Right.
So that works as well.
Great. I need to find out a bit more about that, because we have a intercultural group too. We've grown to appreciate what it must be like to arrive to a new country, and just surviving means that you often set aside your art practice, and it becomes a luxury item. So so going back to the question, so many celebrations, so many cups of coffee. What would be your proudest? What?
If we're talking about the music, the best, I feel so happy or proud when I first thing when we have good answer from our audience, or when the people's coming, we have that fantastic experience. All the time we have full house, and that is making me proud and grateful. And to see as well my children to follow not 100% the art, but they have does mean to live in peaceful, because art and music or culture for me is like a therapy.
Yes.
And thus I hope to see new generation with more full culture and open brain to live peaceful and to understand each other and to live better in our planet.
Yes.
Finish, I hope so, with the violence or the difference, you know? And that's create me a lot motivation. Keep going. More than to feel proud, to feel happy.
But that goes to the subject matter too of the music, which a lot of it is about the environment, the love of the environment, and to do with peace and social issues. But it's also that sort of Latin American thing of it. It can be a subject that's a little bit, I don't know, thought-provoking, but it's happy music. So people tend to dance from the first minute, even though we're talking about pollution or, you know, or the fact that the rivers run dry or whatever.
Well, you get to forget for a moment, don't you, as you dance?
So,
you get to forget for a moment any of the pressures or the rain or the lack of, or just dancing will do that. Yeah, I'm wondering, did you by any chance, did your band play in Palm Cove at any time?
Yeah, we played in Palm Cove a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
For the festivals, the food festivals they had there.
I've got a distinct memory of incredible music I heard, and I still to this day don't know who it was, but I'm now thinking it must have been you guys, because I remember dancing and having a great time thinking, wow, people live here. And then I moved. So I might blame you guys for that.
We'll take the credit.
Yeah, go on, you take it. So you've got some exciting things on the horizon then, if you are about to start recording your new CD and then plans for that. So in terms of what the future holds for you, what are you, obviously the CD, but then what? What's your plans for the future?
My plan for the future?
My personal plan is to work less and do more music and art. Not art, but music, art. So.
Well, my next plan is to work like every day with the Montgomery brother to create the condition for another tour, international tour or national tour here in Australia. And the other thing is we're already working in our next album, and that's my project, to do a good music, to say thank you to our supporter and thank you to the council to support to our group, to our culture, to the art gallery as well. Last year we have a fantastic art exhibition, and our council Chilean was here for the opening, and that's was fantastic. We creating more space to express ourselves, and that's my hope here in Mossman. I'm not complaining nothing about Mossman. It's the opposite. I'm so happy here in Mossman, and that's the challenge, to keep going to create all the possibility with art, culture, music, poetry, all in relation to develop the culture in our town, in Mossman and all around.
Yeah. Oh, well, we look forward to hearing that too. And I thank you both for the contribution you have made to ensuring that that Mossman is a great place for many others to be in, and somewhere also for people to stop as they're heading up through the Cape, or to be able to look at some art that has been created in our region and with the love of the region. So, yeah, I really appreciate what you have given to our community.
We should have said we have, obviously we have other people's art here, mainly Aboriginal art. We have some beautiful originals.
Yeah.
And some beautiful works by people like Karen Gibson, who is very well known.
Yes.
So, yes, so we have various local artists, of course. It's not just Segundo's work here.
December is a new art exhibition coming.
Oh.
December. From the third week, for 2 weeks.
Ah, where does it come from?
We have an artist, is half Chilean, half Colombian. Name is Patricia Villegas.
Yes.
And myself.
Patricia.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
We have another artist from Tableland. Until we went in the answer.
And so you'll have an opening party?
Yes.
Well, please make sure we're on that invitation.
Make sure you're invited.
I'm sure Claire's got just the outfit for that. And so, all right, well, look, thank you again for your time. Is there any final last words that you would like to share with us about, your time here in the regions, your art, whatever, anything you would like to share with us?
Well, our next album, we have to create all the conditions to promote our next album with the support from the council.
Yep.
It's happy music. And already we're working with Angela, is making all the translation from the Spanish to English. We want to share with all our audience, our supporter, our people, and our art gallery. Everybody welcome here.
Yep.
And to enjoy the local art. Yeah.
And so you'll see the link for those coming out.
If they want to display their art here,
yes,
okay, bring it in.
Awesome. So the contact details are here on the video as well, so people please take note of those. And I thank you both again for taking time out of your day to share with us your story. It's been very inspiring, and I will make sure that I find time to dance.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Arts Nexus is a capacity building agency working to grow creative people, communities and industries across far north Queensland. Find us at artsnexus.com.au, like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter and share your thoughts.